2 hours, your house is mine!
To be honest, I've always been a little less evolved. I don't wanna rock, so let's take it from the top, shall we? My dad was well enamored by the stars of the day.
You can't learn it. You're either born with it, or you're a nobody.
There's an angel.
Don't want to be a nobody.
Contemplate my fate.
You're enough.
British pop star Robbie Williams sees himself a little less evolved as he narrates his story of the highs and lows of his pursuit of fame in the musical biopic, Better Man. Brad,
yeah,
we talked about this last week with A Complete Unknown, the biopics.
Not our thing.
We retread the same territory over and over again.
And this is kind of like a soup to nuts biopic, right? Like it's, practically cradle to grave.
It kind of is.
And I don't like these things. And also, he's an ape for some reason.
Which you think about that, it's like, why did they decide to do this? But when you see the movie, it starts to make sense why they decided to go with this choice.
It does. They state it very early on. Robbie Williams says that via narration, I never saw myself like everybody else. I felt like I was a less evolved person.
Yeah.
And that's why, okay, that's the metaphor. All right. Yeah. Is the metaphor anything beyond that? Well, that's a harder question to answer.
Yeah.
And I could see some audience members rejecting this metaphor. I embraced it. I was shocked at how it drew me in as quickly as it did.
Yes.
And I felt like when Robbie Williams is on that, fame track and he hits the drugs and he becomes a wretched human being, if it was not played by a CGI ape, I might not have kept going with him.
Exactly.
But I couldn't help but love this ape.
Exactly. It's like even when you get to those less desirable moments in his rise and fall of fame, because it's played by a CGI monkey, a chimpanzee, you go along with it and you're still on board.
What I loved so much about this biopic is, one, it's a musical, and it's a legit musical. It's from the director of The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
I think the musical numbers are fantastic. There's one in the middle of the movie that, our jaws were on the floor when it concluded.
That I want to talk about that just for a second. That musical number in the middle, I think it's like after they signed their first contract. That is the way that is directed. It is directed with so much energy and verve.
I thought I was watching a Bond movie.
I mean, it was absolutely incredible. I literally, at the end of that number, I wanted to stand up and applaud.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
And the film keeps the spirit of a musical by embracing surrealism.
Yes.
And telling this story, the honest emotions of this story, through continued metaphor beyond the chimpanzee aspect of it, right? You have sequences at a funeral where the ground fades away and he falls in, and then we have a concert sequence at the end of this film that is positively apocalyptic.
Oh, yeah.
It is Mad Max Fury Road, but with Robbie Williams singing. I can't spoil it. I can't spoil it. It's so good.
We can't spoil it, but it's the visual storytelling. Like,
it's a movie. This is a movie.
Exactly. And it's crazy because a lot of times you may think that, we always have this conversation about style over substance. And you've mentioned this before.
Say it, Bryan.
The style is the substance.
100%.
And I feel that way about this movie. There is so much style, but you never lose the emotionality of the character.
Yeah.
That's always in the center of this.
If all you're doing is paying attention to the plot of this film, you have seen it before.
Yeah.
Kid wants to be a rock star.
Yeah.
Kid becomes a rock star. Drugs, sex, rehab, reinvention.
Exactly.
Boring. Who cares? It's how this story is told.
I say it all the time.
And the genre that tells it.
I say it all the time. It's about the execution, and the execution of this is at such a high level. I love this movie. What's your rating for this?
It's a massive B+. I really hope people take a bet on this one. I know it's strange, it's weird. You know nothing about Robbie Williams maybe, but I think you'll have a good time if you just go and see it.
It's directed with so much It's so dynamic the way this movie is directed. There's so much energy to it. The visual storytelling is amazing.
Yeah.
The music is amazing. Everything about this movie is amazing. It's a high B+ for me. It's the one movie that I've seen that I can't wait to watch again.
Yeah, I can't wait to take my wife.
I can't wait to see this again, yeah. So, yeah, those are our thoughts on Better Man.
If you liked what you just saw,
then check us out on YouTube at PGC TV Online, and we'll see you at the movies.